You the don't touch me like that. You the Hey, mud, like hey, mud, like, bro. I said, sit.
I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing at our class.
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Тебе решение суда понятно?
This is 18-year-old Leonid Grazer, who is currently standing trial in Moscow, Russia, for the murder of his sister, Aradia Quarrel. Grazer claims that he received instructions from Satan to take the life of his 21-year-old sister, whom he brutally stabbed multiple times. Today, Grazer finds himself inside the Sherbinsky courthouse, confined within a glass enclosure. This precautionary measure, uncommon in many jurisdictions, is employed in Russia to ensure the safety of individuals involved in the trial and to minimize the risk of violent behavior or potential escape attempts by dangerous offenders.
Or possibly even escaping, which is exactly what Grazer's planning to do.
It seems that Grazer has managed to regain his composure, but shortly thereafter, he unexpectedly slips through the openings at the top of the bulletproof security dock. The exact method by which he accomplishes this remains unclear due to a gap in the video footage. However, upon closer examination, we can see that the officers contemplate opening the enclosure to apprehend him, but Grazer acts swiftly, outpacing their response. In an attempt to halt his escape, one officer strikes him, but Grazer remains determined and refuses to surrender. The female officer quickly reacts and activates a large button on the wall, signaling for additional support. During Grazer's escape attempt, his pants come off, but the determined officer maintains a strong hold on his leg, refusing to let go. Soon, another officer arrives on the scene. It is evident that these Russian officers are serious and focused on the situation. Once Grazer manages to put his pants back on, he proceeds to make a complete confession for the murder, stating that he feels no remorse for his actions.
I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing at our class.
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
This is Jussie Smollett, who was sent to jail for 5 months after a judge found him guilty of fabricating a racist and homophobic attack. The courtroom atmosphere grew intense as the former Empire actor stood up amidst his lawyers and sheriff's deputies, adamantly asserting his innocence. Smollett remained emotionless while his family and others present in the courtroom were taken aback by the judge's decision. Judge James Lynn from Cook County pronounced the sentence, stating that Smollett would begin serving 150 days in the Cook County Jail immediately.
You will pay restitution to the City of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You are fined $25,000. which is the maximum fine, and you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail. And that will start today, right here, right now.
Judge Lynn took into consideration several factors when determining the sentence. He highlighted Smollett's significant premeditation of the crime as an aggravating factor. Furthermore, the judge expressed his belief that Smollett's actions demeaned the experiences of genuine hate crime victims, referring to him as a charlatan and a liar. You willingly took the witness stand, even though you had the option not to, and during that time, you engaged in perjury for hours on end, Judge Lynn remarked. While serving his jail time, Smollett also began a 30-month probation period. Additionally, he was ordered to pay over $20,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago, along with a fine of $25,000. The sentencing followed Smollett's conviction on 5 counts of felony disorderly conduct for providing false information to the Chicago police.
You are now a permanently convicted felon. Your family, who loves you and supports you, I only want to use the word forgive because forgiveness isn't even necessary. They're with you so much, they're so tight-knit, but you have to live with the fact that you really put them through a ringer. You've embarrassed your valuable friends in high places, the elected public officials, people in the media. You've embarrassed them. You have to live with that. I don't know if those relationships can be repaired. You've become toxic in your own workplace. Your career future is uncertain at very best. It was really on a rocket ship to success, and now you've turned yourself into riches to rags.
During the trial, 2 brothers testified as witnesses, revealing that Smollett had allegedly paid them to orchestrate the attack. They claimed he provided them with money for ski masks and a rope, instructing them to create a noose out of it. Prosecutors further asserted that Smollett directed them to use racist and homophobic slurs during the incident, and to proclaim that Smollett was in MAGA country, referencing Donald Trump's campaign slogan. Following these testimonies, the disgraced actor had the opportunity to address the court and present his statement.
I am not suicidal.
Mr. Smollett, we're the ERT team, emergency response team. We handle all the high-profile guys.
This is Jussie Rose, a 25-year-old in Whaling, Australia, attending a sentencing hearing. The defendant is seated inside the designated area known as the dock. Rose, who once aspired to become a rugby league player, has pleaded guilty to the charge of reckless wounding for an assault that was captured on surveillance video. The incident occurred after a complaint was made about Rose's intoxicated behavior in a pub. In response, the security staff requested Rose and his friend to leave. However, Rose refused, and a second camera footage reveals the situation escalating into a physical altercation. One of the security guards ended up on the floor. Rose then retreated from the scene, but not before throwing his drinking glass at the injured man, striking him in the head. The security guard sustained severe injuries, including a laceration and a depressed skull. During the sentencing hearing, Rose's lawyer argued against sending him to jail, highlighting his alleged transformation into a responsible individual with a stable job and a law-abiding lifestyle. However, Judge Andrew Hassler emphasized that this was not a court where leniency could be granted due to the gravity of the assault. Consequently, Judge Hassler announces Rose's sentence: 14 months of imprisonment. Nevertheless, as one door closes for the defendant, he appears to find new opportunities for trouble. Expressing dissatisfaction with his sentence, Rose, perhaps drawing on his rugby background, forcefully kicks open the divider door. It is unclear what he says to the 2 security guards present, but one of them takes a few steps back in response. Continuing the altercation, Rose escalates the situation by throwing not 1, but 2 chairs at the security guards. These are not lightweight folding chairs. They are standard office chairs weighing up to 60 pounds or 27 kilograms in Australia. During this chaotic moment, one of the guards cleverly sneaks around the backside of the dock and swiftly springs back into action, resembling a boomerang. Initially dodging and weaving, the guard then performs a tackle maneuver. Assisted by the other guard, they manage to pin Rose to the floor. Meanwhile, Rose's girlfriend can be seen at the rear of the courtroom. Subsequently, Additional officers enter the scene, help Rose to his feet, and escort him out. As a consequence of his disruptive behavior in the courtroom, Jussie Rose faced charges of property damage and assaulting a law enforcement officer. An extra 8 months were added to his original 14-month sentence. This is Scott Patrick Lemon, who is currently attending a sentencing hearing at the Lincoln County Courthouse in Newport, Oregon. Lemon, identifiable by his blue shirt, is awaiting sentencing on multiple charges including robbery, burglary, theft, 2 counts of menacing, and 4 counts of coercion, all of which originated from a home invasion incident. Present in the courtroom are a deputy, Lemon's lawyer, a police officer, and another attorney. Concerned about Lemon's behavior, the deputies requested an electronic restraint to be placed on him during the proceedings, ensuring immediate control if he were to act out. However, the judge denied this request. As a result, Lemon unexpectedly lunges towards the police officer in the courtroom. Upon closer examination, it becomes apparent that Lemon makes an attempt to seize the officer's weapon. Fortunately, prompt action is taken, and Lemon is swiftly subdued. As a consequence of this incident, Lemon faces additional charges related to his attempted escape. Presently, he is serving a minimum prison sentence of 7 years. This is Cletus Robbins Jr., a 59-year-old in Harlan, Kentucky, who is currently attending a sentencing hearing after a 3-day trial. Robbins has been found guilty of numerous disturbingly violent offenses.
Defendant is guilty of 1, kidnapping with serious physical injury, 2, robbery in the 1st degree, assault in the 2nd degree, unlawful imprisonment, wanton endangerment 1st degree, and being a persistent felony offender 1st degree.
While Judge Kent Hendrickson continues to go through the long list of crimes committed by Robbins, the prosecution interrupts as Robbins consistently turns around and gives them angry stares.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will request that the court give notice to the defendant not to communicate with the Commonwealth.
Inside the courtroom, it is typically forbidden for defendants to engage in any form of communication, whether verbal or nonverbal, with anyone other than their own lawyers. However, the issue arises with Robbins, who doesn't exactly adhere to the rules.
Hey, now none of that. Hey, none of that. Now just calm down.
Yeah, you calm down.
You take it easy.
Stand up there on that side, please. Settle down, please.
Fucking jury ass court here.
Listen, buddy, I'm too old for this.
Hey, I'm too old for this too.
After the tensions in the courtroom subside, Robbins stands silently while Judge Hendrickson delivers a severe sentence.
He shall be confined to the state penitentiary for a maximum of 25 years. And that concludes this matter before the court. Thank you.
While the sentencing may bring closure to the court proceedings, it does not mark the end of Robbins' journey. That's the sound of Cletus Robbins disrespectfully spitting on one of the prosecuting attorneys. Before being forcibly removed from the courtroom, Robbins issues a final threat.
The court has that on record. We know that that was a threat, and we will be saving that record for possible criminal charges.
No further charges were brought against Robbins for his misbehavior in the courtroom. His original 25-year sentence remains unchanged, and a subsequent appeal of the case was rejected. This is Stephanie Rybkowski, who is currently in the Berea Municipal Court located in Berea, Ohio.
Mr. Rybkowski, am I saying that correctly? Yes, you are.
Stephanie Rybkowski, a 42-year-old individual, was apprehended for shoplifting at a nearby Walmart store, leading to her conviction for theft. Today, both Rybkowski and her attorney are anticipating that Judge Mark Comstock will not impose a jail sentence.
First of all, $150 fine plus cost of that suspended. And then 180 days in jail. I'll credit 1 day served. However, I will start that today.
Disappointed with the outcome of receiving a 6-month jail sentence, which begins today, Rybkowski promptly appeals to the judge for reconsideration.
Is there a way that I can not start jail today? I mean, because I've got a daughter, we've got a graduation party going on at home.
I understand
I mean,
that. I understand that. And we're going to stick with the recommendation at this point. So, again, you can have a seat.
Can I have a phone home?
Absolutely, you'll be able to use your phone. Absolutely.
Feeling disappointed, Rybkowski proceeds to return to her seat. However, she suddenly has a change of heart and decides to head towards the exit instead. Bailiff Matthew Bedford promptly notices Rybkowski's actions and immediately addresses her. He catches up to her in the hallway, and they engage in a discussion. Rybkowski buys some time by finding a seat, where she takes the opportunity to check her phone. Meanwhile, the bailiff patiently waits for her and remains vigilant near the staircase. Seeming nonchalant, Rybkowski casually approaches the bailiff while still on the phone and manages to slip past him. Suddenly, she seizes the moment and makes a daring escape. Swiftly descending 2 flights of stairs, she swiftly exits through the front doors, with the bailiff closely trailing behind. Eventually, she reaches her car and uses it to knock the bailiff over before speeding away. Fortunately, the bailiff sustains only minor injuries during the incident. However, locating Rybkowski proves to be a challenging task. It takes a total of 11 days before she is eventually apprehended and placed under arrest. This time, she faces additional charges of escape, assault, and resisting arrest. Nevertheless, no further jail time is added to her initial sentence.
Rhodes, you're smiling. I don't know why you're smiling.
Because I can.
Well,
Because I can. It's not a crime to smile.
it's not a crime to
Continue
smile,
what you were saying.
but it doesn't help you, all right, to irritate people.
All right.
And you have a lot at stake in this case.
It's not a crime to smile, is it?
I didn't say you were committing a
Okay
crime.
then.
I'm saying
Continue
you're not
what you were
helping
saying.
yourself.
Continue what you were saying.
I'm
allowed
done.
to smile.
I would
All
suggest
right.
you do what helps
Okay.
you, not what hurts you.
Okay.
That's
Do what I
all.
want to do.
Well,
Let's
do
get
what
that
you want to do.
understood.
That's fine.
Let's get that understood.
I'm sorry.
Let's get that understood.
This is Bryce Rhodes, who has a history of courtroom outbursts and threats, became combative with Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Charles Cunningham when it became clear that the judge would not make immediate rulings on several motions written and filed by Rhodes himself. These motions included a request to remove his current attorney. Judge Cunningham reacted with a sigh but seemed undisturbed by Rhodes's behavior. The accusations against Rhodes involve the fatal shooting of Christopher Jones in 2016, which took place in front of multiple witnesses. He is also accused of fatally stabbing 2 brothers of the witnesses, Larry Ordway, 14, and Maurice Gordon, 16, and subsequently burning their bodies. Rhodes previously had to wear a face mask during court proceedings due to spitting on his first attorney. He is now on his 3rd attorney and has filed a motion to have the public defender replaced.
Another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? Because then if we might get into a situation under the law where I'm supposed to weigh the pros and the cons. Ma'am?
Stop it. Look at me.
Ma'am!
He keeps turning. He keeps turning.
Ma'am, I told you once before, let me please help you understand.
Why do you keep refusing to remove this man from my case when we keep encountering problems? Rhodes asked. Is there some personal issue you have against me that's preventing you from making a change? No, sir. My concern is about ensuring that you receive effective legal representation, Cunningham replied. In addition to the aforementioned motion, Rhodes wrote and filed other motions accusing detectives and the prosecutor of perjury and requesting the dismissal of the case. As it became apparent that Cunningham was not going to make immediate rulings on these motions, Rhodes grew increasingly agitated in court. At one point, he threatened to file a complaint with the Bar Association and the ACLU. Let's watch his reaction.
You a coward. Nice chief. You a coward.
This is William Terry, who is currently present at the Cuyahoga County Justice Center, where a sentencing hearing is coming to a close.
Thank you all. Good luck to you, Mr. Terry. Thank you, Sheriff.
William Terry has recently been handed an 18-month prison term for charges of attempted burglary and attempted felonious assault. In the courtroom, positioned behind Terry are his family members, while the victim of the crime sits across the room. He is going straight to prison. He is currently conversing with his family, but afterwards, he intends to direct some harsh words towards the victim.
It's all right. It's only 18 months. You don't touch me like that.
Two court deputies attempt to restrain the defendant, who is already handcuffed. The defendant is escorted out of the courtroom without any further issues or disruptions. No extra time is added to his sentence. This is Travis Davis, Brandon Banks, Kelvin Grimmage, and Keela Richardson, who have been found guilty of the murder of Courtney London during a home invasion robbery that occurred 2 years ago. As an additional precaution, there is an increased presence of officers today for the sentencing proceedings.
Any legal reason we shouldn't proceed with sentencing today?
While the men anxiously await to discover their fate, a sudden outbreak of violence erupts, and punches are thrown.
I've indicated that I would like to do is to have the gentleman, hang on, Mr. Davis.
It seems that a court officer tries to handcuff Travis Davis, but Davis resists cooperation. Another court officer promptly intervenes to provide assistance. Simultaneously, a third court officer endeavors to handcuff Grimmage, but encounters similar resistance, leading to complete chaos. In the midst of the commotion, Richardson, who has already been handcuffed, is escorted away from the brawl. Unfortunately, Davis's lawyer, Daniel Hernandez, is caught up in the escalating situation. With the scene appearing to spiral out of control, another court officer steps in, armed with a taser. According to reports, all three men, including Brandon Banks, were tased during the incident, even though Banks seemingly refrained from actively participating in the melee. One of the court officers seems to give instructions for everyone to evacuate the courtroom. Once the court officers regain control of the situation, Davis and Grimmage exchange some emotional farewell words. All four defendants were found guilty of first-degree murder and received life sentences without the possibility of parole.